All right, Shalom. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Ba'asham, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who rule well, pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, waking up and sealing the elect of the nation of Israel through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Ba'asham, Rachakwadash. And salutations to all you sincere that are pushing this gospel in all righteousness and in all sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. Right, so once again, we are the Hebrew Israelites coming in and week out, bringing out the 100% truth of the gospel of the Most High. Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Ba'asham Rachakwadash. Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, the God which the scriptures speak of. And our Lord Yahweh is only begotten Son, which the world ignorantly and willfully calls Jesus Christ, and the Rachakwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. So yeah, we are right back at it again. And today is the second week of November 10th, 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. Right, and as we see Bible prophecy coming to pass and Bible prophecy winding down, and this week you having a new president-elect of the United States of America. So those elections has just been gotten over with. So now you see that DJ Trump is in office right now. So you know that prophecy is going to be moving in the direction of, well, basically as it has already been going, right? Because nothing changes. Because you have this idea in the world of the conservatives in the US, right? The Red Party of Babylon the Great, and how they are Christians, they are for the Most High, right? And they are basically against Satan and the New World Order and the Antichrist and this and that, which is of course false, right? Because here's the big deal, the vast majority of the world, right, is all conservative. They all lean into more of these teachings of the scriptures than otherwise, right? They follow more the more conservative, more scriptural values, right? Family, worship of worship of a god, whether it is Christianity or whatever other religion. And basically that's all those ideologies, right, and culture, their own native cultures, right? And that's how the conservatives operate, because basically all these conservatives in Babylon the Great, they are getting the conservatism of Babylon the Great confused with the normal cultural practices of everybody everywhere else in the world. Because Esau is the devil. Okay, let's get that out of the way first. Esau is the devil, and a conservative Bible thumping Christian believing devil is still a devil. Okay, so whether it's liberals, right, whether it's conservative, whether it's red, whether it is blue, it is still the same beast, right? Two horns, one beast speaking great things. And this is just Bible prophecy coming to pass once again, right? Because even the scripture tells you of that he's, let me get that precept, let me go to that, let me not quote it before I butcher it. Let me just go and get it. All right, so this is it right here. Right, so this is the book of Revelation 3:13 verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right, and that second beast refers to, right, the doctrine, the philosophy, and the ways of America, Babylon the Great. Not just America itself, but all the things that America stands for. which is the practices of the first beast, and that first beast is the Greco-Roman Empire, right? That's why when we talk about culture, when we talk about civilization, when we talk about greatness, everybody always points to the Greeks, points to the Romans. Oh, look at Alexander the Greek, one of the greatest generals in existence, which of course he was a bomb, right? Alexander the Greek was a bomb, okay? The only reason why he was able to conquer so many kingdoms was because the Medo-Persians were, they weren't really that strategic. They weren't, hey, Darius the Mede that was in rulership during that time wasn't a military genius, right? So Alexander could easily take over his own provinces, right? Because when you look at the war and the conflict between Alexander the Greek and Darius, that you see that Darius had the superior army. He had everything to his advantage when it comes to going against Alexander, but he was unable to capitalize on the advantage he had. Like I said, he had the superior army, right? He had the more wealth, more land, more rulership, but he could not defeat Alexander because he just wasn't able to take advantage of the advantages that he did have. But what I'm saying basically is that the idea that Esau Edom's kingdom pushes, and the idea that America, Babylon the Great pushes, is that idea of American exceptionalism, which goes back to the Roman Empire, where basically the idea is that Rome is the greatest empire and the greatest kingdom that has ever existed, right? And that Rome will be the greatest kingdom for all eternity. Because even during that time, the Romans also had this ideology that Rome would never fall, and they would continue to expand until they ruled over the whole world, right? Which of course to an extent they were right, because ultimately the Romans did end up ruling over the whole world, but not as Rome. The same thing with the British Empire. That's why you get the saying, the sun will never sit on the British Empire, because hey, the British wanted to expand their empire to all the four corners of the earth, but they were still unable to because of Bible prophecy, okay? Rome eventually fell because of Bible prophecy. That was what was expected to happen. Let's go to the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter, just so you can see the exact prophecy that I'm speaking on, that would cause Rome that caused Rome to fall. Right, so let's get that. Oh, right. So Revelation 20 verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Right, and that bottomless pit refers to Europe, okay? Or I should just say, Northwest Asia, because Europe and Asia is still one land, one continent. And let me just say Northwest Eurasia, okay? Because it's ultimately one continent, right? And if somebody wants to say, oh well, Europe is in one continent, fine. Where does Europe stop and Asia begin, right? Is Russia a European country or an Asian country? Because last I checked, Russia has borders in Asia as well as in Europe. So Russia is still counted as a European country. In fact, you could even make the argument that the bulk of Russia, right, is in Asia. But you see, this is the confusion that Esau pushes, and that's why Southwest Eurasia, Southwest Asia, if you want to be specific, is called the Middle East, because ultimately Esau is pushing out this confusion. Even when it comes to the naming of land, there is still so much confusion, and the reason why is simple, man, because these devils, they are trying to hide so much history in order to move you away from what is really going on the earth, right? From Bible prophecy, from who the true Israelites are. And that's why they have to rename so many lands and change so many locations in order to hide information, okay? Because now you find out that if you look into the historical record, you find out that, oh, it was Jake that was ruling during the Dark Ages, right? And it was Jake that was ruling during the latter half of the Roman Empire. So that was when the Eastern Roman Empire, sorry, not the Eastern, the Western Roman Empire fell. And it was now Jake that was ruling during the Eastern Roman Empire. And in fact, some of the more memorable, popular emperors of Rome, right? Marcus Aurelius, Constantine the Second, I believe, right? Septimius Severus, Persidius the Niger, you know, I think Octavian as well, Octavius. These were all Jakes, Israelite men. So like I was saying, in the latter half of the Roman Empire, you now had Jakes in rulership. But let's get back to the precepts, right? Because Rome had to fall, even as quote unquote great as it was, because you know that hey man, Rome wasn't great because once Esau came into power, and in the book of Maccabees, the book of First Maccabees even tells you that once Esau came into power, wickedness was increased on the earth, and an empire that is great in its wickedness is not truly great. So Rome was never great. Rome might have been an empire, but it wasn't a very good one. So now let's go to the book of Revelation 20, I'll continue on from verse 2 now. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Right. So basically, the dragon that is being spoken of here is the dragon in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. The dragon in the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. Right. The dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. The last beast that was made to reign on the earth. So what this is showing you is that, hey, even going, the Lord is showing that the last beast, of course, represented the Roman Empire, but for a brief period of time, right, that last beast's power or his rulership was taken away from him, and he was bound for a time and for a season, and that time and season is 1,000 years. So for 1,000 years, right, the last beast in the book of Daniel, the beast of 7 heads and 10 horns, their rulership was halted, which is why you had the Roman Empire ultimately being taken down by it was a multitude of reasons, right? But the ones the historians will tell you about it was that it was the barbarians, right? From I think Teutonic, that's what they call them, Teutonic barbarians, right? That was the barbarians that ultimately took down Rome, which of course we all know the reason why they are even called barbarians, because they weren't barbarians, right? But the reason why they are called barbarians is because they were Jakes, right? They were Israelites, so they were the ones that are responsible for the downfall of Rome. The Teutonic barbarians, right? And that's after Rome fell. That was when Esau was taken out of power, or Esau was already taken out of power long before that. But that solidified Esau losing the power seat for a brief period of time. Let's make it clear. And that's the reason why you had Jake, coming up in Europe, the Byzantine Empire, right? The Britons, the actual Saxons. Because if you go into the word Saxon, it's basically son of Isaac. And son of Isaac as in Jacob, right? Not son of Isaac as in Esau. So you had the Saxons, you had the French, the Celts, the Gauls, even the Russians, right? Because even the Russians were Jakes. So you had Jakes ruling over Europe at the time, right? You had the Jakes in Northern Europe. They now had the Moors coming out of West Africa, in Southern Europe as well, like the Iberian Peninsula and different places like that. Why do you think that the Renaissance began in Southern Europe, Spain, Italy, Portugal, right? Why do you think that during the start of colonization, those are the most powerful nations, right? Because it was Jake that even built up Esau to the point where they were able to even conquer us, man. And that's the funny thing, that shows you just how the most high sense of humor works. Because even in Esau's power, it was still Jake that established them. Even with the Greco-Roman Empire, the reason why Alexander the Great, the reason why Alexander the Greek was able to set himself up as a ruler and get into that rulership seat was because he had Jakes backing him. Aristotle, right? Aristotle was a Jake. And even if you want to say, Aristotle wasn't a Jake, Aristotle learned from Jakes that were in Egypt. Don't let these Kemet niggas deceive you and tell you that Aristotle learned from Egyptian scholars. No, he learned from Jakes that were living in Egypt at the time. Because even during when the Greeks were starting to establish themselves, even during the Persian Empire, you had Jakes living in Egypt, right? So Aristotle learned from Jake philosophers that were living in Egypt at the time. And Aristotle himself was also an Israelite. And he taught Alexander the Greek. Hell, Alexander the Greek was even given, you have some of that account of how Alexander the Greek, met Levites, man, Levites. I think they were even priests, that showed him in the book of Daniel, where it spoke of him and it spoke of how he would take the power seat. And he basically said that, oh, yeah, this is you in the scriptures, because that's what you are doing on the earth right now. Like moving like that leper. That is the book of I believe that is Daniel. I forget the exact book of Daniel, because Daniel 11 is going into the 6 Syrian wars. So Daniel the 10th chapter, right? Daniel the 10th chapter, that's where that was the prophecy that was going, that it spoke of Alexander the Greek. Daniel the 10th chapter. And let me just go to that. Let me just make sure that and when you read it, man, that is not when you read it, it's not even like a deep dark saying. Because even before I came into the truth, I read that Daniel the 10th chapter, and I was like, wait a minute, this is Alexander that he's talking about right here now. This has to be Alexander, because he's talking about the rough goat of Grecia, right? That's hard to be. When you read it, you realize that, wait, this is clearly speaking about Alexander the Greek. So yeah, Daniel prophesied of Alexander the Greek before he came up. Let me look for that precept. Yeah, let me look right in the blue letter, so okay. But I have to get it because it's also relevant to understanding, right, Bible prophecy. And this is how Esau Edom came into power. Because the only reason why Esau is in power is because of Bible prophecy, right? The only reason why Esau was able to even gain the power seat was because of Bible prophecy. If the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had not willed it, Esau would never be in the position that he is in right now. Okay, it's Daniel the 8th chapter. It's Daniel the 8th chapter. So let me get this precept. Let me just get the main point. I don't have time to be going into deep. Okay, it's okay. Let me not say that. We're still out here because I haven't even gone anywhere. So I guess I actually do have time. Hold on. Now, wow, this Bible just flipping pages because it just finished raining and it's cold out here, right? It's cold right now. That's why I'm even wearing this. That's why you see me in the hoodie like this, because it's cold. Even my nose, right? I'm supposed to wear face mask because my nose gets irritated easily, so I'll start sneezing everywhere, and it's not going to look good. But let me get this. And I have to start from the top. So Daniel 8 verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw that I was in Shushan, in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. Right. And normally I would break down what the vision that Daniel saw, but like I said, this precept right here is so plain text that even if you go on down a little bit, right, it breaks down what this vision is going into. So let's just keep reading now. And if we go on down, you see that the vision, you see that the vision is actually being broken down. So now, Daniel 8 verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. Right. So now that's basically going into, the Greek Empire and how it was established. And let me jump down to the interpretation of the vision. So now Daniel 8 verse 15. And it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning. Then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. And he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and fell upon my face. And he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in deep sleep, on my face toward the ground, and he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation, for the time appointed the end shall be. Right. And just remember that most of the things that Daniel saw happened in his lifetime, right? So he saw the rising and the fall of the Babylonian Empire, and he saw the rise and he saw the rise of the Medo-Persian Empire, and he also saw the fall of the Medo-Persian Empire and the rise of the Greco-Roman Empire. Now let me just say this as well before somebody will confuse my words. Daniel had already died before the fall of the Medo-Persian Empire and the rise of the Roman Empire, because Daniel was prophesying roughly around 700 and something-ish AD. It's like a BC, right? Roughly late, or should I say, late 700 BC, which is like which is like the 720s up onto the 700s, because you have to remember BC is counted backwards, right? Because basically, even though atheists will swear up and down our Lord Yahweh did not exist, somehow all of history is still counted based on before his birth, after his birth, right? But Christians will swear up and down, atheists will swear up and down, oh, our Lord Yahweh did not exist, oh, the Bible is a book of fairy tales, oh, the Most High is just a fairy godmother that you Israelites like to pray to. But yet history is counted based on the birth of our Lord Yahweh Shai. So everything that happened before the birth of our Lord Yahweh Shai, that's BC, right? And you can phrase it to before common era, after the common era, and common era all you want. This fact is that 0 BC, something significant happened. It wasn't Augustus becoming emperor, right? That wasn't it. It wasn't Rome becoming established. That wasn't it either. It was the suspected year of the birth of the deliverer of the nation of Israel, right? But it's actually just how wicked Esau is, man. See how the Most High has structured, history to even show you that, okay, there's definitely something here. Because why else would he measure time, right, based on before and after the birth of our Lord Yahweh Shai, right? And let me say this as well. It isn't confirmed that our Lord Yahweh Shai was definitely born 0 BC. It's all just speculation. Like, it had to have been that year exactly. But we don't know for sure, because basically the records are the records have either been destroyed or kept hidden, okay? Because the records do exist, or at least didn't exist at one point or the other. So now, Daniel 8 verse 20, the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia, right? So if you go back up in the book of Daniel, the 8th chapter, it's talking about the horns, right? And it said that one horn was greater than the other, right? And the horn and the ram with his horns, he pushed to the north, pushed to the south, pushed to the west, pushed to the east, right? And I'm pointing in the wrong direction. Actually, I am. I'm actually not, because east is this way, right? North is this way, south is this way, west is this way. Okay, yeah, and that's why whenever I want to give the praise the most, I always turn around like this, because this is actually the way of the east, right? And you're supposed to turn and face the east to Jerusalem. But the point I'm making is this, right? Look, basically, the Medo-Persian Empire was split in two, right? You had the Medes and the Persians ruling together. But the Medes, right? That's why one horn is greater than the other. The Medes were greater than the Persians. That's why most of the kings of the Medo-Persian Empire, they were actually Median, right? Kings of Media. They were the Midianites, like Jethro, for example. And I'm not saying that Jethro was actually a king of the Medo-Persian Empire, right? Because you have to explain this thing very carefully for our people. Because Jake is dumb like that. Oh, what you talking about? Jethro was. What did he do saying? Jethro was born long before. Jethro died long before the Medo-Persian Empire was established. But Jethro was also a Midianite, right? So I'm talking about the Midianites. I'm talking about the people from the Median, right? The people from Media. So yeah, the Midianites, right? Jethro's people. That's what I'm basically saying, right? Darius was a Mede. Xerxes was a Mede. The kings of Cyrus. I think Cyrus the Great. I'm not really sure about Cyrus. I'm not really sure about Cyrus, right? But most of the kings and the most powerful kings of the Medo-Persian Empire were Medes. So the Medes had more power. So the Medes had more power than the Persians, and that's why one horn was greater than the other. And the Persians were expanding their empire greatly. Right? They covered the whole of West Asia, parts of North Africa, definitely conquered Egypt. Not even talk about that, right? And even broke into Europe as well. But let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. Now, Daniel 8, verse 21. The rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Right? The rough goat was the king of Grecia. I know. Let me do this first. The rough goat is the king of Grecia. And that was the kingdom of Grecia itself, because the actual animal represents the kingdom. The horns represent the rulership, represent the power of the kingdom, right? And that's why one horn was greater than the other. One power was greater than the other power. And the same thing with these rough goats, right? That overtook with violence the ram. And it also says that the horn that is between the eyes is the first king. Now let's go to the Apocrypha, because this is how we are building our understanding of the scriptures, right? And the highways and byways is just to build that understanding, to go into the history, go into the prophecy, and get it in even more, and go in even more depth than you can in a sit down. Be out here enjoying, the most size, beautiful, the environment. I'm not really an outside person like that, but this has to be done anyway, right? Because you find out that hey, you're the only guy in Nigeria that's out there doing it like this, and even the whole of West Africa possibly. I know that there's an IUIC in Abuja, but those guys aren't out there like that, right? And even when they are, they're just like, if you look at their live videos, just like what, you don't know how long they're out there for. Could be 30 minutes, 20 minutes type of thing, right? And they're even consistent. It's not like they're week in and week out. And it's not like you're doing videos every day like that. Don't even go to the IUIC channel and see when the last time they did a video was, because you don't have an IUIC here in Abuja. And the funny thing is that and they've been doing it longer than I have. They've been at it longer than I have. Oh, okay, they have a video. Okay, they have a video from 2 days ago. Okay, they've been consistent. They've been consistent actually. They've been very consistent, right? But they're not, but they've been very consistent. Yeah, but the IIC, the IIC camp in Nigeria, they say they've been out there, man, even longer than I have, and they even have members as well, which is making me wonder, like, hey, why is it Jake really feeling this truth here in Nigeria like that? But anyway, it's what it is, shy. It is the spirit that, it is the spirit that giveth the increase. The most high, how about Sham Shai, that giveth the increase, right? So, you know, it's the most high wills it, man. Jakes to come into the camp, right? But not before. So let me get back to what I was saying, okay? So yeah, basically what I was saying is that I'm going to the book of First Maccabees, right? This is the book of First Maccabees 1 verse 1. And it happened after Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. Right, and that shows you, you know, and basically the book of Maccabees is the record of the fulfillment of the prophecies of Daniel, the 8th chapter. So Alexander the Greek rose up and became the first of his kind to be king over Greece. Okay, and when it talks about the first of his kind, the first Edomites, because if you go into the historical history, they'll tell you that, oh, Alexander the Greek was a Macedonian. Yeah, because Esau was already ruling in and living in Macedonia during the time before Alexander, right? Haman was also an Edomite, but if in the history he was a Macedonian, right? And he was in the Medo-Persian Empire. And that's where the line of Alexander comes from, the same line of Haman. Because Haman also had, brothers that were in Macedonia. You can go there. If you read the book of Additions of Esther, it goes into this. And that's why, Esau doesn't like the Apocrypha. Because the Apocrypha actually connects the Greek and Roman Empire to Esau Edom. Right? Because if you go into the Additions of Esther, it goes into that how Haman, the Agagite, was a Macedonian, and how he was basically trying to take over the Medo-Persian Empire for his brethren that were also Edomites living in Macedon at the time. Here it is. Now, additions to Esther 16 verse 10. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Hamadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we should toward every nation, as that he was called our father, and was continually honored of all, the next person unto the king. Right, so basically Haman, the son of Hamadatha, going back all the way to Agag, which was the king of Amalek at the time of Samuel, right? Because if you go back in the history, if you go back in the history, King Saul was tasked with wiping out the Amalekites, right? Basically, the Most High was, basically, and let's go to that piece. Let's go to that piece. I don't want to butcher it. And basically, the Most High was like, it's time to fulfill that promise I made. That I'm going to wipe out these Amalekites. So let's go and do all that. Let me not say what I want to say. I was about to call out the modern Amalekites today, but they did something like that now. Oh, anti-Semitism, Holocaust, this and that. Because that's how Amalek rose. Here it is. So this is the book of 1 Samuel 15 verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, Yahweh sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together, and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek, and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you shewed kindness to all the children of Israel, when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. Right, so that is who Amalek goes back to. Now Amalek is the son of Eliphaz, which is the son of Esau Edom. So that's why we say that you don't even need me to explain all of this. Just look in biblical history. Who is Amalek? Amalek is one of the sons of Esau Edom, and Amalek are the small heart Israelis, right? And the people that claim to be Jews today. So that is the line that Agag and Alexander the Greek goes back to. So now let's get this. So now, addition to Esther 16 verse 11, has so far forth obtained the favor that we should toward every nation, as that he was called our father, and was continually honored of all, the next person unto the king. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceit sought of us the destruction as well of Mordocius or Mordecai, who saved our life and continually procured our good, and also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom with their whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch had delivered to utter destruction, are no evildoers, but live by most just laws. That's basically it right there. Because he was trying to set up the kingdom for himself, right? Or his kindred that was ruling in Macedonia at the time. I don't really know whether they were actually ruling in Macedonia during the time of Agag. I can't really confirm that, right? But we know that Esau, right, was in rulership of Macedonia when Alexander the Greek came into power, because Alexander the Great's father, Philip II, was king in Macedonia, and Alexander the Greek also became the first king of Greece after he defeated Darius, the king of the Medo-Persian Empire. So that is the book of Daniel, the 8th chapter, coming to pass. So let's go back to that now. Daniel 8 verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And let's go to that, right? Because it also said that the horn was broken into 4 pieces and scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. So let's get that in the book of, once again, in the book of First Maccabees 1, and let's continue. So this is the book of First Maccabees 1 verse 6. Wherefore he of course being Alexander the Greek, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils are multiplied on the earth. Right. So that is the reason why, ultimately the Greek, it says that, the kingdom, let me go back to that in the book of Daniel. Right. It said that the kingdom was broken, the kingdom being broken, and four kingdoms stood out of that king of the nation, but not in the same power of the Greek Empire. So you had four kingdoms coming out, right? The Seleucid Empire, the Ptolemaic Empire, the Seleucid, I mentioned the Seleucid Empire, the Cassandra Empire, and the Lasamaican Empire, right? Because now the king scattered themselves in the four directions. The king of the south, the king of Egypt, Ptolemies, the king of the north, according to the scriptures, being Seleucus, which was the king of Syria at the time. So that was basically the whole of Southwest Asia, right? And then you had Cassandra ruling the Cyprus and the Mediterranean region, right? And Cassandra, and Lysimachus was just, really basically every other part of Alexander's kingdom. And let me also say this as well, Ptolemy wasn't just king in, hold on, so like, yeah. Let me try and remember how this went, right? Ptolemy was king in Egypt, right? Right. So they split up Alexander the Greek's kingdom in four, and they started ruling those four parts. And that was really how the Greek Empire was set up, right? So that's basically showing you that, in the book of Daniel, Daniel called this out and shows you that, the prophetic, and shows you the prophecy of the scriptures. Because, hey, you ask any historian and any Bible scholar, they'll tell you that, oh, the book of Daniel was written before the Greek Empire, before the Roman Empire, right? Before the fall of the Persian Empire. So how did he know this? Well, he knew it because he knew prophecy, and because the Most High Yahweh was speaking unto him. That's why even after the fall of the Babylonian Empire, Daniel still managed to have a high position in the Medo-Persian Empire. Right. So let's go back to Revelation, the 20th chapter, and which is of course speaking of how the dragon fell the first time, right? And how the Roman Empire fell the first time. So we see that even the establishing of the Roman Empire was a part of Bible prophecy. Its fall also is a part of Bible prophecy, right? So the devil was, so we are going back to Revelation 20 verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him up 1,000 years, right? And that dragon is speaking of, like I was saying, the Greco-Roman Empire. And we read how that dragon came into power, right? So we read how that dragon came into power. And this dragon is, of course, you ask the Christians, they will tell you that, oh, that dragon is talking about the beast. The beast, the beast, the beast. Okay, what is the beast? Oh, it's Satan, Lucifer, the demon. Lucifer was an angel in heaven, right? And he rebelled against the Most High Yahweh, right? That's what the Christians will tell you, right? Giving you all this story, all these genealogies that come from nowhere. Because where is the record, right? Where did this record of Lucifer falling from heaven come from? Basically, what it is what you call fan fiction, fan theories, right? So the idea is that the Catholic Church developed this in order to explain what Revelation, the 20th chapter was going into, what Revelation, the 12th chapter from the 8th verse was going into, right? But in all actuality, the dragon, the serpent, was not speaking of the spiritual demon Satan, but rather it was speaking of a man, right? Because if you go into the word devil, and if you go into that word in the etymology, in the Greek, it goes back to the word diablos or diabolos, right? The Greek word diabolos. You go into the Spanish now. In Spanish, the word for devil in Spanish is diablos. And what that word means in the Greek is false accuser, slanderer, calumniator, and basically it's all metaphorical, referring to a man, and that man is Esau Edom, but Esau is dead, right? Exactly, because it's not just referring to Esau Edom, the man alone. He's talking about his whole nation. So all the nation of Esau Edom, they are the devil, and that's why you see brothers out there getting all passionate, getting all riled up. Oh, the so-called white man is the devil. The so-called white man is the devil, right? And then it's like that sometimes when the spirit hits you, You don't even know where you just go into it, just start cursing out the white man like, oh, Esau Edom is the devil. The devil is a liar. Esau is a liar. You start cursing out Esau Edom out of nowhere because the spirit just jumps on you and you become passionate, right? But I will also say this as well because all these caveats have to be given, right? Because this truth is deeper than, oh, Esau Edom is the devil and the Negro is Jake, right? Because you also have Edomites. All right, you see, you have so-called white people, right? Not Edomites, not Edomites. Before walk out, will now come out and say, oh, and these Christians will come out and say, see what these GMS brother went to go and say. No, not Edomites, okay, but so-called white people, because they are falsely so-called, right? Race is not based on skin color. You can't say that there is a white race because there is no such thing as a white race. First and foremost, they are not white, they are red because their blood shows forth to their skin, which was how Esau Edom was described in the scriptures. That's why the scriptures say he was red all over like a hairy garment. He was not hairy, he was just red all over and looked like a dyed garment. Okay, now that's what I was saying. You know, he's not white, he's red because blood shows forth to his skin, right? And you might have some so-called white people that end up being Israelites. So race is not based on skin color, it's not based on nationality, it's based on lineage. Nationality is the same thing as well. It's not based on, oh, you are living in this border, you are born in this border. It's based on lineage. Who was your father? Who was his father? Who was his father? Going back all the way to, right, the original man that established the nation. That's why if you go into the history, you had, even had Edomite looking people among the Moors. You had Greeks that look like Esau. You had Greeks that look like Esau. You had Greeks that also look like Jakes as well, right? Because you had Israelites that look like, that's why you have them. Oh, the scattered Israelites that, you had the scattered Israelites in the book of Acts, devout men from all the four corners of the earth, because even though they were living among the heathen, they were still following the Israelite customs, right? The same way that our people do now, right? If you are living in Babylon the Great and you believe in this truth, hey, you are going hard for this truth, man. You are keeping the laws, the statutes, the commandments, calling upon the true names of the Heavenly Father and the Son. You are not a Babylonian, okay? You will never see yourself as an American. You will see yourself as an Israelite. Ban your Sharada, ban your Hawada, ban lawyer, ban your Shashkar, that kind of thing, right? Ban Aparian, you see yourself as one of the tribes rather than an American. And that was the way our people always were. No matter what part of the world you are scattered into, right? You always had those jakes that were keeping the laws, and doing it to the best of their ability, right? Hoping for the day when they could come back to the Holy Land, okay? But of course, this captivity was different from the other captivities that our people were made to serve, because in this captivity, we forgot our heritage, forgot our nationality, forgot who we truly were. That's that bam bam bam, because now the Vine sounds like, and if you are editing the video, Vine sounds like you got our nationality, that Vine boom, boom, that Vine boom, boom. That sounds like a gong. But that's what happened to our people. But thanks be to the Most High, because in these last days, our people are now remembering themselves. Let's go to the book of Baruch to get that. Let's go to the book of Baruch. So this is the book of Baruch 2 verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am Yahweh thy power. For I will give them an ear and heart and ears to hear. Right, so hey, normally, us jakes are stubborn as hell, man. It's only through the spirit and power of Yahweh that even us that are in the truth, we manage and enter this truth, okay? Because if not, you would have been like the jakes in the world. Oh, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. Jesus, right? Jesus is for me. That's how jakes. That's how we would have been in this truth as well. But the Most High Yahweh shall open our eyes open our hearts to receive this truth and to get the understanding, right? To remember ourselves, our true nationality, and our true heritage. Because the Most High Yahweh Shabi Shai has that remnant, the rest of the nation of Israel, that he is trying to, or not let's say trying to, that he is going to deliver, right? Even though we would have been out here, bugged out like Jake, talking about, oh, today is Sunday, I'm going to praise the Lord, right? Even though they have no idea what that means. You see Jake walking around right now, they're in their best clothes, they're about to go to church, right? And all they will do in that church is spend like 30 minutes, the praise break, and they do that in Nigeria as well. Because hey, Nigerian churches aren't any different from churches in Babylon the Great. It's all the same thing. If you see one Jake church, you've seen them all, to be honest. Even the churches on the islands are the same thing, right? The churches, right, among the Latinos are the same thing. If you see one Jake church, you've seen them all. There's no difference. There's no difference, man. That's why you have a lot of Nigerian pastors that have built up branches for themselves in Babylon the Great and also in the UK, because they operate the same. Because mega church pastors here in Nigeria operate the same way as mega church pastors in Babylon the Great. The only difference is the accent, right? That's why you see JK in Nigeria, GMS Nigeria. We speak the same thing through the Spirit and power Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, of course, as the brothers in Babylon the Great and the brothers in the UK as well. Only difference is the accent, right? But it's ultimately the same spirit, and it's the same as the Plantation Christian Church. It's the same spirit that is on them, the spirit of JC and Serapis Christos, right? But let's get back into it. So now basically what we're going into is the devil, and it's a man, and that man refers to Esau Edom, and Esau Edom is the so-called red man that is ruling over the earth today, for because they are those people now. Revelation 20 verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he was loosed a little season. Right, so that was roughly 300ish BCE, right? Roughly, going from the 300 sorry, not BC but CE, because actually 300 BC was when the Greek Empire was established. So roughly 300 CE to 400 CE. That was when the Western Roman Empire fell, and James became rulers over Rome, right? And ultimately the Roman Empire itself fell, and then now the Byzantine Empire, the Dark Ages now being set up, and it was Jake that was ruling during the Dark Ages, right? So your kings of England, your kings of Scotland, kings of Wales, kings of France, right? They were all Jakes. King James, Charlemagne, the kings of Wales. Even Scots term, if you go to the etymology of the word Scot, basically the word Scot means is burnt, right? Brown, or it was black, right? Because the original Scottish were Jakes, the original Irish were Jakes, the original British were Jakes, even the original Germans were Jakes, because Jakes was ruling in Europe all throughout the Dark Ages. And it was when Esau Edom, after that 1,000 years was fulfilled, that's when you now have the Renaissance coming back, which is basically the rebirth. After the Renaissance means the rebirth. Basically, the beast whose deadly wound was healed. Right? The beast whose deadly wound was healed. Okay? And when it was healed, Esau now came back into power. And the first thing Esau did when he came back into power was make sure to destroy all the relics that show Jake's rulership, not just in Europe, not just in Europe, but even here in West Africa as well, right? They destroyed any relic and any record of Jake ruling in Europe, right? But for the most part, they couldn't destroy everything, because they still have some of these busts, some of these records that still exist, right? Like the black nobility, all the different banners and the different noble seals that the Israelite rulers had, some of the statues of Jakes that were ruling during that time, there's some of the bosses, and even the records that they kept, right? Like William Shakespeare, for example, which of course William Shakespeare was a Jake, but even he wrote in his plays about the Jakes that are ruling, the so-called Negroes that are ruling in Europe, like Othello, for example, right? I didn't even know about Othello. Othello was actually supposed to be a dark-skinned person, right? A so-called Negro, and that was like and Othello was basically the same story as Hamlet. That was the so-called black nobility at the time, right? Jakes ruling over Europe, because Jakes were ruling over Europe. And let's not even go into the Moors and how they basically built up the majority of the castles that you see in Europe, in Europe, right? And all those castles, the knights, the rules of chivalry, and all that stuff. Notice that all of that goes back to the Middle Ages, right? The so-called Dark Ages. Or we are coming into the Renaissance, you know. No, and we are coming into the Renaissance because if you look at the culture and the architecture of the Middle Ages and juxtapose that to the culture and architecture of the Renaissance, you notice that it makes you wonder, like, was it two different cultures that built this? Because it's completely different, right? Because when we are coming into the Renaissance, the reason why it's called the Renaissance, right, the rebirth, is because also you now have Esau rediscovering their Roman and Edomite heritage, right? Because the same way Esau built their architecture in Petra, which is in Petra, is the same way they built it in Rome. It's the same way they built it during the Renaissance, in which you basically have the white marble sculptures, right? They now have these Roman pillars, the marble pillars, right? That's the exact same way that it was built up. That's the exact same way that a lot of your Renaissance art was structured. Renaissance art and architecture was structured, right? Because during the Renaissance, Esau was now starting to come into power above Jake, right? And pushing Jake out of power. That's how the Spanish pushed out the Moors, right? Because even the Jake that was ruling during that time are called Moors. Because now Esau has pushed out the Satan, and you tell you that, the Moors were actually the Muslims. No, the Moors were a term used to refer to Jakes that were in Europe at the time. So even the Christian Moors, the Moors that knew that they were Israelites and they were following the Israelite customs, right? And the Muslim Moors as well, which are all Jakes, of course. They were all pushed out together. And you can look up this term, il Moro, right? Because if you look up the term Moor, the English word Moor, it won't give you the exact idea. So you have to look up the actual Spanish Italian word for Moor, which is like el Moro, right? Moreno, and words like that. And the word you see there is black, okay? And if you look up the word el Moro, it will show you some of the so-called black people that were ruling or had high positions of nobility in Europe at the time, mainly Italy, Spain, and Portugal, which are some of the biggest Renaissance locations, right? Italy, for the fact that the Roman Empire was centered in Italy at the time, right? And they also have Spain and Portugal because that was where a lot of Moors were. So they were building up Spain and Portugal, to the point where, right? So they were building up Spain and Portugal. That's why you have a lot of castles in Spain and in places like Spain and Portugal. They also have castles all over Europe as well, and all those castles were built up by the Moors, right? Built up by Jakes that were ruling at the time. Because now King James was a Moor, right? Basically, the idea is that every Jake that was in Europe became reclassified as Moors, kind of like how a lot of our Northern Kingdom brethren, right, Gadites and the Seminoles, were reclassified as Negroes, because Jakes that were ruling in Europe, in any part of Europe they were, whether they had relationship with it, whether they were actually part of that Moorish occupation that went into Spain or Italy or not, they became reclassified as Moors. So now if you look at a painting of medieval Europe and you see a Jake there, right? Wearing armor, noble, wearing the king's robes, right? They'll say, oh, that's not a European guy, that's a Moor, that's how that works, right? That's why you have Catholic, I think that was one of the saints, one of these Catholic saints that was basically a Moor, right? I think it's even Saint Peter the Black or Paul the Black. I forgot which saint it was that they called him Peter the Black basically because he was a Negro, okay, or I should say a so-called Negro. That's how the history works. So yeah, basically the Roman Empire fell for 1,000 years. Jake was ruling, right? And that's when you go into all these period pieces, it's mainly that medieval period everybody likes to go to. Well, that's why all your fantasy settings are based on the Middle Ages and the medieval period. Oh, knights in shining armor, knights and fiefdoms and kingship and serfs and all that, because it was Jake that was ruling during that time, and Jake made that shit look cool. They're walking around in full plated metal plated armor, right? With the broadsword and everything. Even though that is ineffective as hell, but that's just Hollywood sensationalization, right? And then we're now going to the Renaissance period. Nobody really goes into that Renaissance period like that, except for when they want to talk about the arts, right? Oh, the art, because like I said, that was when they started following the Roman pattern of painting, of sculpting, of architecture, right? Esau was rediscovering his heritage, and that was what that Renaissance was for Esau to rediscover his heritage and then destroy any relic of Jake in power. That's where you get your iconoclasm from. That's why you have a lot of these old relics from the Middle East and from Egypt, with the lips and the nose broken off, right? That's why you have all these old paintings that were lighted up now to make the people that were painted on it look more white. That's where you get the modern image of Jesus Christ, right? Cesare Borgia of the Borgia family. And if you know about the Borgia family, man, that was one of the biggest demonic families that are out there. But everybody knows about the Borgia family because of the two doors, right? And that was one of the biggest, the most demonic family out there, man. Even the other Malcolm, right? The first crime family. And that shows that the Catholic Church is bullshit because the Borgias were Catholic. How do we know they were Catholic? Rodrigo Borgia, right, the patriarch of the Borgia house, was the Pope at the time, and that shows you just how much of a scam the church is, especially the Catholic Church. Right, like I was saying, so prophecy shows you is the timeline of Israel's rulership. So the fall and then it now being raised up again. So now we are in the time where the beast's deathly wound was healed, right? So now this is now we're in time where the beast's deathly wound was healed. So now this is now the time that we're in where the beast and his system will actually fall. Okay. See, I lost a train of thought for a little bit right here, but yeah. So now in time where the beast and the system will ultimately fall, because that's what the whole book of Revelation is going into, and that is where prophecy is leading into, right? So yeah, Trump is in power right now, and you have all these Edomites that are out there saying, "Oh, America is going to be great again. America is saved. America is saved, right? Oh, the West is saved because Trump came into power," and it shows you the deceit of Esau Edom. right? Because this is what the scriptures say about America, Babylon the Great. Let's go to that in the book of Jeremiah. And you can should already know where I'm going into. We could have healed Babylon, right? And Trump, not Donald Trump, not Kamala, none of those individuals could have healed Babylon, right? And let me just make it clear for all you jakes here in Nigeria. It doesn't matter whether Kamala Harris was in office or Donald Trump was in office or whoever else, or hell, Biden came in last minute and became the presidential candidate and got put in office. It doesn't matter, okay? America, Babylon the Great will still fall. This kingdom will still come to an end. Allah Yawashai will still come back and take this place the fuck out. Call Allah Bashim Yawashai. So now, Jeremiah 50. Jeremiah 51 verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. Right, see, I have these Edomites out here trying to howl and take balm for the pain of Babylon. Oh, they are looking for the savior. They are looking for who will come and heal Babylon and who will come and make Babylon great again, right? Oh, that's why they will tell that, oh, Donald Trump is sent from God. That Donald Trump is God sent, that, oh, God is with him, right? Because when Esau talks about God, and when you Jakes talk about God, you know, really you're saying the same thing, but you don't know you're saying the same thing. But when Esau talks about God, when you Jakes talk about God, and when us, the Hebrew Israelites, talk about God, we are speaking about different entities. Because your God is Esau Edom, Serapis Christos, Jupiter Olympios, right? That history of your God is Esau Edom, and the God that he has established for our people as that mental slavery, that cage that Jake is always in, right? That's why the scriptures say we are yet this day in our captivity. Because not only are you in actual chains, that you're actually still slaves, but you are also slaves to Esau Edom and his system, and you're also slaves mentally to Esau Edom and his system, right? But when we speak of God, we are speaking of the Most High. That's why we're able to call upon the true name of our power, and you dumbass Jakes aren't. Now, Jeremiah 51 verse 9. He would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Right, but the top brass, the elites of Esau Edom, you know, they are seeing Babylon right now. The elites of Esau Edom, the elites of Israel, right? Because, you know, I don't want to start arrogant or anything, but hey, the men of the Lord, right? The elect of the nation of Israel are the elites of Israel. You know, Lord really will be a part of that number. But the elites of Esau Edom and the elites of Israel as well, the Lord really will be a part of that number. Are seeing what's going on with Babylon the Great right now. They are seeing where America is going. They are seeing the direction it's heading, and they're basically saying that, yeah, we could have healed Babylon the Great, but you know, she can't be healed. We are past the point of no return, right? Let everybody. That's why you are seeing a lot of these elites. They are leaving America, Babylon the Great, right? First, you saw them step down from their positions in their various companies. Then you saw them, you know, leaving Babylon the Great. Then you saw them buying those domes, right? Deep underground bunker, you know, those domes. You saw them buying those domes, you know, starting to set up a place for themselves when the shit starts, because they already know that America, Babylon the Great is on its decline. It is going to fall. So they are trying to deliver themselves in any way they can from that fallout. So now, Jeremiah 51 verse 10. Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our power. Right, and hey, this is what we're doing right now. Because Jake will get upset, you know. The heathen will get upset as well. Why are you saying that America, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed? Why are you saying the Most High is going to judge all these heathen and judge all these Babylonians for their wicked ways, right? They are living alternative lifestyles, you know. Why are you saying that the Most High is going to put all these Christians to death, all these moles and these these homosexuals and the transformers to death? Why are you saying all that? And basically, we are saying that because we are declaring the wondrous works of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? This is the day that the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Even if the day of the Lord is the day of destruction. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Even if the day that the Lord has made is the day of judgment, we are still going to rejoice in that day. Even if the day that the Most High has made is the day of death, we are still going to rejoice in that day, right? And that's the one thing that Christians can't get. They get all messed up by that. Oh, how can you say that, you know? Because I'll come out and say something like, oh, well, you know, hey, man, it's what it is, right? It is what it is, you know. What is going on the earth right now? Everything was set up by the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All the death, all the destruction, all the violence, all the, even the wickedness as well, right? But because, you know, a lot of these jakes don't understand the order that the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has set up, or what the Most High has in his plans for this world. They get all messed up by what they are seeing out here, right? Which is funny to me because, you know, how are demons being messed up by things that happen on the earth? Because these are the same people that were shouting up and down. They want the right to murder their children inside their wombs, right? They want the right to be able to, just be out here, just, killing babies left and right. But they now start screaming about how children are dying in Gaza, right? And it shows you just how wicked these Babylonians are, man. Esau has turned the minds of these Babylonians into wickedness. And it's always the nigger woman. It's always the nigger woman screaming the loudest. When it came to the fallout because of Trump being elected, and you're looking at who was screaming and who was crying about Kamala, Harris losing and Trump winning, it was Jake, man. It was the nigger woman. Sitting there screaming and crying on the YouTube. Oh, I don't know what's going on in my life right now. Oh, this is F boss. I'm going to get into slavery. And this is what happens when you don't have the truth in this kingdom, man. You just bug out. Because if you had the truth, you would know that in no captivity coming, boy. You don't mind splitting anybody in slavery anymore. You don't mind splitting any Jake in chains anymore, right? Let's go to that. Let's go to the book of Lamentations. Because that is over and done with. We are out of that condition. Because you see, you even have some Edomites that are even saying the same thing, that, oh, we're going to put those niggas in chains. So this is the book of Lamentations 4 verse 6. The punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people. Okay, hold on. So this is it. Lamentations 4 verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O the daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins, right? And that's why Edom is being exposed left and right, front and center. All the crimes of Edom is being exposed in real time, right? Esau do some shit, right? Next day it's out in the news. Esau lynched Jake, in their sundown town, Vidal, Texas, right? Places like that. It's out in the news the next day. Amalek, even commit crimes against the heathen. It's out in the news the next day. The Esau sins are being uncovered. Their skirt is being uncovered. Let's go and get that preset. Uncover this. Let me get that. Let me get that preset. Let me get that preset. Because Esau is being exposed, and the whole world is seeing him for the devil that he is. Isaiah 47 verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. That's right. And that's what Yahweh is speaking directly to America, Babylon the Great, because now they are being exposed. And this is also going into the book of Thessalonians, the second chapter, right? Because in the book of Thessalonians, the second chapter, it clearly says that that day shall not come except that day shall not come except a falling away come first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's exactly what is happening. So now Esau Edom has been exposed, right? These devils have been exposed, and the whole world can see them for what they truly are. Uncover the thigh, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, and now Esau is exposed. So Allah Yahweh is coming back very soon, man. It's just a matter of time now. And Allah Yahweh will be, and our Lord Yahweh will be back on the earth. So with that, let me end the video right here. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh, Ba'asham Rachal Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, Shalom. So what Yahweh Yahweh.